Okay.
Le vent. Après, on part en voiture au bord de la mer. We- Ah, that's why everyone is like this. So good morning or good afternoon or even good evening if you're watching us from Asia. Welcome to this second chair session between Tai Zadbain and Focus Asia. Live from here, Udine. Welcome to the participant in the room with us. So in this session, we had a case study just before for a co-production between France, Vietnam, and Singapore. And earlier this morning, in the group of Tai Zadbain, we had also another case study of a film that will be shown in Cannes next weeks, co-produced by one of our experts joining this session. Which shows how interesting Taiwan can be in offering public funding for international co-production, and how this system is matching well with the way we used to finance film in Europe. So there's an interesting scheme here, and because we all know that when we co-produce with Asia, usually European producers find a different way of working. There's no necessarily structure with national fund, regional fund, and here we start to have seen several particular cases and interesting in so-called Greater China, and showing how some films that was made or intended to be done for mainland China ended up being done in Taiwan, and with great potential afterwards for the co-production or for the distribution. So we are very happy to have two great experts of the co-production between Taiwan and Europe. One is based in Taiwan and is actually talking to us from Taiwan. Don't believe his background, because he pretends to be in Udine with his background, is Patrick Mao Huang, who will introduce himself in a few minutes. And the second expert we have is based in France. He's a French producer, even though he has a name that sounds a bit Taiwanese. It's Vincent Wang, who is live with us here in Udine and could travel to Italy to be with us today. So let's first have a short introduction of you both. Maybe Vincent, you can start to introduce yourself, as Patrick will then speak longer than you.
Hello, everyone. So I'm very proud to be here to share my producer experience with you. Yeah, I'm come from Taiwan originally. I'm based in Paris. My production company, House on Fire, is based in Paris, but also in Taiwan, House on Fire International. I started the production works in Taiwan in more than in the 1999, and I was lucky to follow very talented director Tsai Ming-liang in Taiwan, so that's why I started the production with him. And so because I grown up in Paris, so I know, of course, I had studied cinema in Paris, so I have the possibility to work in the two countries, between France and Taiwan, particularly in co-production. And then after 10 years experience in Taiwan as a producer, I decided to go back to my hometown, Paris, and to start also work, of course, to continue to work in co-production with Taiwan, but not only, also in Greater China, so for the Chinese-speaking language, like the Chinese independent films, and then also further with the other Asian filmmaker, of course, with European and French filmmakers. So I will share with you my different
some example and so on. Yeah. And so our other guest in front of the Teatro Nuovo of Udine, apparently, Patrick. Can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yes, I'm right now in Taipei. Actually, the picture behind me was shot by myself. Actually, 2019. about 2 years ago.
Patrick is a
and,
regular. Patrick is a regular expert on Tizadbine. He already participates in several workshops as an expert.
Yeah, in both Singapore and Udine. And I'm the founder of the company Flash Forward Entertainment, which is based in Taipei. I established the company in 2001, so it will be the 20 years anniversary this year. And I do a lot of domestic film, the Chinese-speaking film in Taiwan, but also some Chinese independent film in China. But my company is also a distribution company, so I distribute a lot of foreign film in Taiwan. And since a few years ago, I have a few co-production with Europe and other countries such as Southeast Asia. I start doing some sales for Chinese-speaking film, including Chinese independent film. So in my first 10 years of a career as a producer, I do a lot of Taiwanese film, which is spanning from narrative to drama series and also to documentary and animation. But about 10 years ago, I started working with Midizay, the Myanmar-born Chinese ethnic filmmaker. So together we made 4 feature films, and one of them I co-produced with Vincent actually in 2016 in Venice Days. And because I work with him, which all take place in Southeast Asia, the story-wise. So we have, the diversity of working with different crew, different countries. Some of that are real co-production. So since then, I have been co-producing several films with Europe and Southeast Asia. Not just France, Germany, but for Money Boys, I also co-produced with Austria, Belgium, and then also with Netherlands, Croatia, and then in the Southeast Asia, I co-produced with Singapore, Thailand, Myanmar. So that's what I have been doing for the last 10 years, and I'm very lucky that my latest film, Money Boys, has been selected by Cannes for the Uncertain Regard. And I'm going to talk about this film and also the next film to be shot very soon as an example to talk about the public funding from Taiwan.
So great. So let's start with it. Let's start to show how you could use the kind of public funding that you were able to use for those co-productions through your presentation. So Patrick has prepared some slides. Let's start with it. So you can go on, Patrick.
Okay. To start working with China, or in this particular case, working with the so-called Chinese-speaking territory, the Greater China area, I think there's a few elements which is important to trigger the collaboration and also the funding. There's a few I listed here. One is the location. Sometimes you just use the location here, but not necessarily concerning the character or story. I think The Silence from Martin Scorsese is a very good example because he shot a film in Taiwan, but the story is actually 100% set in Japan, a period film, I believe, in the 17th century. But he led the big group of technicians and then to Taiwan, to the seaside, to use a location and then spend a lot of money in Taiwan, and then to trigger some of the funding from the national fund and the regional fund. So location is a possibility. If you could think of, okay, this location actually is good for your film, or could replace in your original idea in the script, which you could consider, because there's some excellent location and the funding available for this part. And the second possibility will concern the story. Even though it's a European film, but if you think, okay, the story could actually take place in Taipei or Taiwan. In the case of Luc Besson's Lucy, actually take place in Taipei. A lot of scenes take place here. And it's an action film involved with a lot of technicians, involved with a lot of cast and crew in Taiwan. So it also works. It has the participation from the national government, but also the Taipei Film City. And then the third one, which is the case of Money Boys. This is a long journey for Money Boys because the project started from Tizadbine in 2012. And then the director or the writer-director is an ethnic Chinese Austrian. He was born and raised in China until 10 years old. 10 years old, he moved to Vienna and then learned from the Haneke. And he has a script, and the project in China by 2012 is about the gay man in China. So after so many years of development and then trying to fund the film, there's a difficulty to shoot in China because of the sensitive issue. I still remember when I encountered the project, they have a very difficult situation to secure the cast in China, because all the cast in China, they demand one thing, which is important to them, not just to winning an award or to go to the international. They hope their film could be seen in China. But because of the subject matter, Money Boys is very difficult or almost impossible to be released in China. So when they talk to the cast, especially some famous cast, it's very difficult. So in 2018, when the French co-producer Guillaume from Zorba talked to me about the project and asked me if it's possible to shoot the film in Taiwan. And then after some thought, I think it's definitely possible because the story to portray the Chinese people is definitely working in Taiwan. And then from the script, I think the location is also possible to shoot here to portray the big metropolitan and also village which appear in the film. So in the end of 2018, I started apply for the funding from Taiwan. So the Taipei Film Commission just initiated the co-production fund, which is called Taipei Film Fund. So we got that. And then like 1 month later, the director CBE arrived in Taiwan, and then we start the pre-production. And then we shoot the film. We shot the film 6 months later, which is the middle of 2018. So, okay, if you consider the cast is a possibility from Taiwan, definitely you could consider Taiwan because it's definitely the co-production element. And then the other possibility, which is not much to do with the regional funding, because most of the regional funds from Taiwan, they require the shooting in their city. For example, for Taipei Film Commission and other regional funds, they prefer you shoot like 20%, 30% of the scene in the city. However, with a new fund, which we definitely talk about later from TAICA, that's more flexible, which means the Taiwan element, which could also include the head of a department. So in my new case, my new film to be shot next year called Moving Bangladesh, which is the Bangladesh, Taiwan, and the French co-production. It's a 100% Bangladesh story, but I'm going to have the DOP, the production designer, and the sound people, and the post-production done in Taiwan. So definitely is perfect for us, for Taiwanese, the creative people to participate in another international film. And then the project is right now also heading to Cannes in the co-production phase. So in Taiwan, we have the national fund, we have the regional fund. I'm going to talk about that in the case study, but I think there's one thing important for me is because if the project is initiated by the European producer or sometimes from the Southeast Asian producer, if you already have too many co-production countries involved. For example, if it's a Vietnamese project, you have a Singapore, you have a Germany, you have a France, and then the story 100% has to be Vietnamese cast and also should be shot in Vietnam. It will be very difficult for Taiwan to participate because there will be no room for the post-production, or maybe it's difficult to send a DOP or sound person to Vietnam to shoot a film or any other part of the country. So if the project has like 4 or 5 different countries involved in the co-production, the chance to work with Taiwan will be small, unless your story or character has part of Taiwan. The additional funding is also available, which is been established a few years ago, which include the VR and also animation. And the VR and animation, these two categories is is also what Taika is really focusing on right now. And I actually believe animation will be the easiest one category to work with, not just with Taiwan, but also China. From the report I saw from the last 3 years, most of the co-production film working in China, in mainland China, are animation film, which is involved in the co-production with a different country. And so animation is easier because there's no cultural barrier, less cultural barrier, and also you just need the funding, but also the technician, which is make it easier. And the VR, we have so many VR projects, co-production between Taiwan and France, and as well as other countries, including the South America. So I think the VR is also one area for the European co-producers, European producer to study how Taiwan could be part of it. And since we're talking about the Greater China, I'd like to also mention a little bit about the possibility from China. There's no public funding. However, if the film, it could be recouped, could be released and recouped from China, there's a possibility to get the funding from China as well. I think the good example is The Meg. It's a big thriller action disaster film, which is a U.S.-China co-production, and then the majority of the funding actually from China, and then it works worldwide. And then the story is not much to do with China. It only has the lead character from China. So if the film could work in China to pass the censorship, China is also one of the places you could consider to do the co-production. And of course, I receive a lot of projects. They want to do the drama series and also the anthology films, to include the part of the story take place in Taiwan. And I receive this kind of project from time to time. I think it's also possible, which I think is also fulfill the requirement from Taika and also like regional fund. It's just myself, I'm not so much interested in anthology, but I believe some of the project anthology project could work as well. So I'm going to talk very quickly about the Money Boys. Okay, the Money Boy has a 4-country co-production, and then the dedicated producers from Austria. So we have Austrian Film Institute, ORF, and the Creative Europe as the funding resources. It consists around 40% of the total budget, around 2.3 million euro. And then the second biggest one is from France. And then we are lucky to have Arte, which is a 400,000 euro from Arte, and then we have CNC, and also the MG from the French distribution, which is the ARP selection. And then Taiwan is the third biggest contribution in terms of finance. We have from Taipei Film Commission, as I mentioned, but also because the whole film was shot in Taiwan with a lot of cast and crew in Taiwan. So we have enough spending to go beyond the minimum requirement, which is around $1 million, a little bit more than $1 million requirement in Taiwan. So we trigger the rebate. In the end, I received around 300,000 euro for the rebate. And then the last one, because we still have a gap, we need to trigger the Euromatch. And then so Belgium, as the third European country, came in for the tax credit. And then of course, before shooting, we already have MG from International Sales, which is the Totem Film, another French company. So in this case, we are lucky. The whole story actually could take place, it could be shot in Taiwan with a lot of cast and crew. So we could trigger a lot of funding from original fund, but also the central government. Okay, this is another project which is the co-production between Singapore, Taiwan, and Poland, which is supposed to be shoot in September this year, but because of the COVID situation in Taiwan, I'm not quite sure it could proceed, original plan, but we'll see. And then so we have the Singaporean writer-director, but it's very interesting in this case because the story, the script is written as a Taiwanese story because the director has made 2 short films in Taiwan. So he wanted to make a film as a Taiwanese story, completely shot in Taiwan, Taiwanese character, Taiwanese life, Taiwanese family. But because of she's in Singaporeans, and so the Singapore producer has an MBA, has a Korean picture from Thailand, and also private investor from Singapore. And then the project here is also among one of the projects in the Focus Asia this year. And then because the whole film is shot in Taiwan, so I triggered 3 different regional funding, which is the Taipei Film Commission, Taichung City Fund, and the Taoyuan City Fund. So it means the story will be shot in 3 different cities: Taipei, Taoyuan, and Taichung. And because the new initiative from TAICA as the co-production to fulfill the 3 elements for TAICA, which I believe the TAICA representative Joyce will talk about that. And so we are going to submit and trigger the investment from TAICA. And also I have 2 private investor from Taiwan. The reason Moneyboy has no private investor from Taiwan is because it's too close to a shoot when I came in as a co-producer, and then also it's more our house in a way. But for peers, because it's a Taiwanese story, and then also with the big cast from Taiwan, so I could have the private investor from Taiwan. So the private investment combined the soft money is also a very interesting case for peers. And the last one is from Poland. And so we will have the quite well-known DOP from Poland to join. And then we got the funding from Polish Film Institute. And we will have another funding which will be announced very soon from Europe as well. So lastly, I would like to talk about to work with Taiwan. I think so these 3 elements should be considered altogether. What exactly the Taiwan city government or central government looking for? Because for example, TAICA and the Taipei Film Commission, their funding are like investment. So recruitment is one of the considerations. We should consider the money could be recouped. As a producer, I will look at this element as well. And then secondly, because it's a co-production, Taiwan right now is pushing all the possibility to co-produce with international producers, so we could gain the international recognition. I think the Moneyboy is a good example right now in Cannes. But definitely, a lot of the whole world is looking at the film right now. And for the city government, the city promotion is important. So that's why they require us to shoot in the city. So how many percent you could shoot in this city, and then to take advantage of the character of the city environment, which is also important. So all 3 together will be the total consideration to see if Taiwan is a good place to work with. Is a Taiwan producer could really bring the talent and also the funding to the project. So very quickly, so I just talk about this. The 2 case study above, and then maybe later we'll talk about during the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Patrick. It's actually quite amazing to see all the sophisticated scheme that Taiwan's offer for co-production and for offering soft money, let's say, to film. It's quite unique in Asia, I think, and so let's see from France how France and Taiwan, how Vincent you could play with this different scheme and use it for your project as did Patrick. Can you explain us a bit what you did? I think you prepared some slide also. You have a presentation. Maybe we can launch it and go through it.
Yeah, took very quick, easily. Thank you for Patrick to explain the different project he had done about the different funding. What he said, I think exactly that what we need exactly to, because in Taiwan, of course, have a lot now. Where there's a new possibility for the minority co-production fund. And it depends when we go in co-production, what is good to choose Taiwan, why to choose the Taiwan, to get some subsidy. Firstly, of course, until now, it was because we have the reason to shoot there, because the stories happen maybe directly in Taiwan, or it's also sometimes it's happening in Asia. It's so we can take Taiwan like landscape, like city, like the in consideration, and so to order to shoot it there. And for my example about the other film, It's the Territory of Love. It's a French film. At beginning, the director wants to take place. The story is somewhere in Asia, to a very French story and a French love story. So at first things we talk about the different possibility in Asia. Of course, because I know some place how it could be possible. We know usually in Asia sometimes it's more private funding. So that it's for my point of view, it's how could be the case to have the balance, because we get some regional funding in France. We have 3 regions. We have a CNC. So it's second feature films. And so it's, and we get some MG, but it's not. So how we could be possible to have some balance in the other Asian country with main actors, it's French. So Taiwan is offered this possibility to get some public funding to, because we set up all shooting, most of 70% shooting there. And so it's also the beginning of, for Taiwan to open also for not only the famous filmmaker like Martin Scorsese, like Luc Besson, but it's offer the possibility for the young generation filmmaker come from Europe. And I prepare this just here to recap what's okay. I already done for my presentation.
I think yes, there's some more information about you on this slide. So you like cooking.
I like cooking.
And
I like to the limoncello.
I saw making
an ice
limoncello.
cream.
An ice cream.
Yeah, because as producer, we are also to like to the other things. Of course, we like the life. And so as Patrick said, we have the PAMID. It's like it work like a tax rebate, and so it's have the minimum expenses. It's more than $1 million US. So it's possible to have some rebate for 45% for the salary, 35% for all materials, art, let's say to art department expenses, costume department expenses, etc. And also equipment, of course, the camera, lighting, etc. And 20%, something like that, if I remember, to the all about insurance, all the administration fees, etc., etc. So it's so it's possible to have the maximum 30%. So recently for the Dead and the Beautiful, it's a co-production with Lemming Film in Netherlands. For David Verbeek, is the Dutch director. Of course, he knows very well Taiwan. He also worked with Patrick before. And for this film, in this case, we have, of course, in Netherlands, we have essential for Dutch Film Fund, also Dutch TV. So have the one more and 1.8 million euro from Dutch. And at the same time, because we have a more 1.4 million expenses in Taiwan. So finally, we get also the different fund, of course, in the regional fund, but in Taiwanese part, we get totally more and around 600,000 euro. So it's, of course, it's almost, it's for the rebate, so it's a soft money, of course. We need to reserve only the problem of the cash flow, because in Taiwan at this moment we have of course, the government and TAICA to try to push the bank system to lower the cash flow to the production company, but it's still tricky at this moment. So we hope the next step for Taiwan will be to find the right bank to cash flow the thing. So the tax rebate, it's easily to get if we have 1 million expenses in place.
Okay.
And so TAICA, it's a Taiwanese creative content agency. This fund is very new. So we are very happy as a Taiwanese producer because I'm also based in Taiwan and we work a lot of co-production to have this possibility, to offer this possibility to the minority co-production fund, like the CAP financing. So support not only of course, the fiction, feature films, the documentary, and the series, and also via all industry of the creative content. And we just get for the Parfum Hill of Abderrahmane Sissako, because the next film, Abderrahmane, will be shoot at 80% in Taiwan and 20% in Africa. And maybe we have a chance, Joyce, to hear, so maybe we can ask her some question about this fund. But if I understood, this fund is also to support for the co-development fund. So it means when we sign agreements, MOU agreements with TAICA, we can apply the different projects. And in this project, as Patrick said, need to have some Taiwanese elements. Of course, it could take place in Taiwan with Taiwanese actors. So they could be, if we are eligible for this criteria, we are not commissioned inside, not real commission of the film. So that is sometimes good also because some of the art house film, because it's a special director vision, particularly come from Europe. So sometimes in the commission of the Diderot Commission, maybe they're not very connected. Because as you know, mostly in Taiwan or in Asia country, we are more in the market films. So when we come from Europe, we try to fighting for the special director vision. Sometimes commission, the people, it's quite difficult to understand. And with TAICA system, let's offer the new possibility for the more creative things and also to open to Taiwan a crew, artistic talents to participate in this possibility. So, of course, we still have the Taiwanese elements, but maybe Joyce will be explain to us what mean exactly Taiwanese elements. That I'm also very curious to understand. I think here in the European producer also to wish to know what it could be possible to work with TAICA.
So do you want Joyce to talk now? Or?
Yeah, maybe, yes, please, Joyce. So could you tell me what is exactly Taiwanese element?
Yeah, I think this Taiwanese elements usually people think it's quite blur, but actually Patrick explained in the slides, like when you have like let's see, you shoot in Taiwan, or you use the post-production crew in Taiwan, or even your story, your character, your cast. So I think we can, if the project is like exciting enough, we can really find like a very general Taiwan elements to recognize it, and then we will support it. Yes.
Yeah, so as Patrick said, the Bangladesh sample film samples could be have just the head of the department come from Taiwan is still eligible.
Yes, it's like if you use like an editor, mixing, composer, lightning, like this kind of different kind of perspective in the post-production. I think that's good to exchange different kind of talents, no matter it's the cast or the production crew. So if for that example, it works, yes.
Okay. The other question maybe is a little bit tricky because we talk about the Greater China. If we have the Chinese directors to do something with Taiwan, the head of the department or actors, it's still eligible, for example? No political issues?
Yes, I think that if for characters it's okay, for cast, for crew it's okay, but the whole budget cannot max than 30% of the budget. Which means like if you have a Chinese investor, their sharehold cannot more than 30% on the budget scale. Yes. But for the talents, I think it's pretty okay. Yes, it's not. We are not limited to the number of talents in the scale. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So it's as you know, it's as you said, it's a rare minority co-production. But we say it's not necessary to have shooting in place. So that is offered a great possibility to as the basement of the co-production in Asia.
Yes, this is amazing.
Yeah. And for back to the other Taiwanese fund, so we have after the regional cities fund, more regional. Yeah, so for it's a work like the equity, and they are also very open to have not necessarily shooting in Taipei, but have some more about some post-production possibility in Taiwan. So I think it's a two sessions by year. It's very competitive. It's depending also the amount, annual amount they have. So, but the average is around 100,000 euro and 150. It's average, so it's quite good money. Only the thing is it's more about detailed things about it. It's the last installment is 2 installments. The first is signature of contract, and the second one we need to have only the film. It will be released in Taiwan and have some all accounting. So it could take very long. Take 2 or 3 years long, from my own experience. And so in the different city also I have to start to in Taiwan to have some subsidy. Originally it's more for the Taiwanese filmmaker, like Kaohsiung, but since 3 years, they were also welcome to the international co-production. Only what they ask is real, the film happened in Kaohsiung, to justify why the story must be in Kaohsiung. So of course it could be justified because in the story, inside the story, also because it's about the landscape, because in Kaohsiung we have the seaside, have the mountainside. So it's very attractive sometimes for the filmmakers to come from Europe to discover these parts, because we have some view of island, in Taiwan. So, for example, we have the 3 international co-production to happen in Kaohsiung. One is the Territory of Love of Roman Cogiteur. Mainly, main story is happening in Kaohsiung, and also for the Dead and Beautiful of David Verbeek. And the next step is for Abderrahmane Sissoko. He was also go to there. He liked very much because it's not so big city. It's you have sometimes have some very pure like the villages, some part of the city. So it's very green. So that's why there are a lot filmmakers appreciate also this city, not only go to the capital. And this fund is quite very well. It's also almost of 120,000 euro and 100,000. And the thing is very well with this fund because when you sign, we pay all immediately. So it's very appreciated for the cash flow.
You like it, no?
We like it. I think as producer, it's a facility, and also they have some hotel, some transportation subsidy. So last is a complement. We can ask for the reserve about the location for the team. And after we have the other different city have Taichung. of course, it's in middle in Taiwan. This fund is a more, it was a soft money, but since I think it's 2 years, it's become also the equity. And what is important about what they try to recoup? It's just what's the percentage share we have in the total budget finance part. And usually we, of course, because when we have the few co-producers, France, Netherlands, and Taiwan, of course, the French producer keep the French territories reserved. And sometimes we try to, for the raw territory, to give the priority to the Asia recommend share, to more percentage to like the first rank for these equities could be recouped. And also, of course, for the revenue come from Taiwan. So, and so that's also, it's, this fund mostly they accept because it's, for them, of course, it's a government, it's a local government, but at the same time, they can visualize how it could be possible to recoup for their side. And of course, they're also looking for the visibility, for international visibility. So they are very welcome to the producer or the director if have already the film what's in the important film festival. That is also very important for this regional fund. And yes, so yeah, so let's see. So that's why, as as 2 days ago, I talked. We have quite similar, the funding system with Europe because now they're more and more open. Of course, it's still very selective, but it's still make a lot possibility for particularly come from Europe to know in Asia it's a very good place to support the author's movie, even for the commercial movie.
Yes, I think from what we hear from Patrick and you, the Taiwan seems to be very co-production friendly, and it's amazing. And also in regards to Greater China, where it's tricky to shoot sometimes in mainland China, it seems obviously much easier in terms of content and also financing to go to Taiwan. I think that. I believe to know that Money Boys, the project of Patrick, was initially supposed to be shot in mainland China and ended up to be shot entirely in Taiwan. And I think it's the case of your Abderrahmane Sissako too. His first plan was to shoot in mainland China and then he will finish shooting in Taiwan. So I think it's important for us all to put Taiwan on in our mind on the map of the co-production as a co-production welcome country in Asia for everyone internationally and also from Southeast Asian country, I guess. So, Patrick, did you want to add something? Because I think we reach we are near the end of the session. After, did you want to add something to what has been said?
Maybe I add only one thing. Is I think. For TAICA's new initiative, I think because the scheme is TAICA side of right now is between around 15 companies. That's like 15 producers as a partner. So the partner is going to initiate the project to do the application. And then for the TAICA, which is very different from most of the European funding, it's not a jury-based scheme, which means as long as you fulfill the requirement for the co-production investment requirement, and then you could actually almost like automatic, but you have to work with the assigned co-producer from Taiwan, of course. So which has one benefit, because for example, if you have like a 70% funding in place, originally you are thinking, okay, let's apply for CNC, and then you have to wait another few months. Or sometimes you want to apply for, let's say, the Hubert Wells Fund plus Europe, and then you wait another 6 months or even 1 year. So if you only have like a gap, like a 30%, you could really consider Taiwan because it go quickly. the timing is very important. It's a big advantage from Taika's investment, I think. So that's the one thing I would like to add.
Wow, that's a very important point. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, it's very interesting. Do we have some question from the audience, be it online or live? Ah, you knew anyway I would ask you. So we have two questions. I keep you for after. Behind, can someone bring? So maybe can you come here? So you can take out your mask when asking the question.
Oh, that's actually much better. Yeah, just a short question about the Taiga. Does it work? Is that it's equity, right? So I didn't really. Maybe it was mentioned, but is it? Does that mean it's recoupable, same position as other equity? And is there a spending demand for that? Because that I didn't really hear, or just for me to understand. Does that full amount need to be spent also in Taiwan? So that's the two questions. Is it full? Is it full equity? And what's the spending requirement for that?
So maybe Joyce wants to reply?
And actually, we are just like investors. So as long as like you secure your 70 budget and you got like Taiwan Elements and international co-production, and also you got international distribution platform, like contract or something like that. So it's really just fulfill our requirements so we can give you the final gap of funding. Yeah, but you don't need like to really spend your money in Taiwan. But as long as you require, you match the requirement of Taiwan Elements. Yes, like I said, like a location shooting or Taiwanese character, Taiwan story, or the post production in Taiwan. But it's not like the full checklist. So we probably will check like there's will be 7 or 6 requirement, and you have to match like 3 of them. Yeah.
So it's quite flexible indeed. Okay.
Yeah, in a way, it's quite flexible. Yes.
Thank you, Joyce. Agathe, please come.
Sorry. Hi. Just 2 questions. Just wanted to confirm that is the tax rebate automatic as well? And also, are they compatible? Like, can you have the tax rebate, the Taika, national Taika fund, and what about all the regional one or CD ones you were talking about? So how can you mix those? Thanks.
Yeah, the tax rebate is automatically, but we need to apply way before. It could be the expense could be eligible only when you, as an agreement, come from the BAMID. And yeah, that's a very good question. Could we combine all funding, public funding? Yes, it's possible, but if we apply to the BAMID, the regulation is the total expenses in Taiwan could be not to 200% of the fund we get. It means we could have, of course, a combined BAMID rebate fund, Taika, and the regional fund, but the expense must be superior to the 2 times of the totally fund. Yeah.
So BAMID is a tax rebate, right?
BAMID tax rebate fund, because BAMID have the different fund for domestic films, of course, also, but for the tax rebate. But if we are not inside the BAMID, we don't need to apply this regulation.
Patrick, anything to add to what Vincent said?
It could be very complicated. For BAMID, when Vincent mentioned about the combination with other regional fund about the spending like a double, which is actually not including Taika, as far as I understand, which is not including the Taipei Film Commission because they are invested. So because BAMID is not recoupable. So in general in Taiwan you cannot have more than half of the funding, you know. So I think which should be considered part of the spending, or which is not. I things that is also, go through the calculation. But in general, for example, the money boy is going to spend more than 1 million, and then what you get, from regional fund and also from BAMID, it's definitely is only like a 30 to 40%. You won't be more. So normally it's okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Any other question?
But Joyce, the BAMID and the TICA could combine, right? That's very important.
Joyce, can you confirm?
For them
Yes.
to understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for the tax rebate fund, yeah, definitely. And the recent regulation of BAMID about this 50% of maximum, it's very new. It's, I think, last year only. It's a new regulation. Yeah, so.
So, a lot of different funds and combination possible. Seems amazing. Any other question? Or, it's lunchtime here in Italy, so, and we start to smell from downstairs the flavor of the lunch, so I think people are suddenly not so much having question anymore. Thank you, Joyce, for joining. Thank you, Patrick and Vincent, for making you available.
Thank you to
and
all
to
of
give
you.
us some insight, sharing your experience about the possibility in Taiwan, which seems amazing for us all, and we'll keep that in mind. And I'm sure that you will have many people calling you in the next weeks, probably, to introduce you. Great project, I hope. Good luck in Cannes for your project, Patrick, and good luck for your other project in a summer festival. I don't know if it's official yet, but and looking forward to see you all in the next session at Focus Asia and TAIZATBAN in the next days. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.